All right, and we are live. Hey, what happened to your little angry stuffed animal? Thought you were going to put him up there. Oh, there you go. Valeria's angry. Valeria, why are you angry?
Because America doesn't care about legal immigrants.
Yes, America does not care about legal immigrants. They only seem to care about illegal immigrants. We got a notification today. Valeria. Valeria got a notification today that her court case for immigration had been pushed back yet again. They just keep pushing us back month after month, year after year. We're just stuck in this like immigration purgatory. And so if anybody out there knows a good immigration person who knows their way to deal with this horrible system, please let us know at the Reagan-esque conservative at gmail.com.
Or if anybody is a lawyer and can sue the immigration court.
Yeah, I'm trying to get people on it that I know. I know some people with connections, but ever since Trump left office, my connections are significantly limited compared to what it used to be. Everybody in the federal government's been replaced by a degenerate leftist, so I don't know how easy it's going to be for us to navigate this, but we're working on it. So hopefully we'll get this all sorted. Okay, darling, do we have any other updates? Anything else with our personal life? Anything else exciting? Oh, I took a stool sample the other day, and Valeria will be mailing it out tomorrow. She was supposed to mail it out today, but she didn't leave the house, so, I'll beat her later. But, so she's going to mail it out tomorrow.
Yesterday, oh, crap, I have to email your crap.
Yeah, you have to email my crap, yeah. Literally.
Literally.
It's the size of a pea in a little vial, in a little baggie, in a little mailing thing.
Literally.
So it's like, it's
drinking.
It's like a Matryoshka doll of crap. Anyway, so I'm gonna find out what all my microbiome stuff is. I'll talk about that on the show a little bit, but I'll find out what I can and can't eat. What's giving me some kind of what do they call it? Inflammation. Maybe I can reduce that to some degree through diet, and maybe what's keeping me fat, because I can't seem to figure that out. Anyway, Valeria.
Oh my gosh, I'm so dark.
Oh, what happened? Oh, the sun went down. The sun went down. Shall we boost you back up? All right, start speaking to the people while I'm gone.
Zombie Teddy said, I'd love to help, but it took me 9 years to my citizenship.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to brighten back up. It's going to be super bright. I think there's just a cloud. There's just a cloud covering it for now, but yeah, this is not going to be ideal. But I don't know. Maybe I should have it on some kind of like automatic shutter speed thing.
Can it like regulate?
Yeah, I can regulate, but I only ever use manual, so I'm not used to that. So I'll have to work that out. But anyway, darling.
Yeah, people said, wait, you made it in America.
Yeah, I read that.
You should have gotten a fast track to citizenship. Yes.
Zombie Teddy. Yeah, well, that's our point. That's our problem.
Everything is ready. Everything is proven. I just need to go to the court, get my green card. And they're like, you have to wait another 2 years. I was like, my court was supposed to be 2 weeks. It was supposed to be on May 7th. And I was like, okay, thank God I can get my green card, can leave the country, visit my grandma, who thinks she's going to die before we can meet each other again. And I like 2 years. I'm like,
well, you need to call her and be like, Grandma, you might have to live a little longer.
Couple more years.
All right. Well, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Would you like to read the first headline, darling?
Yeah.
All right.
Academy Awards, lowest ratings ever.
Yeah, Academy Awards has the lowest ratings ever this year. Uh-oh, what do we got going on here? That's not good.
Why?
Well, because they suck. Well, here's the thing. Well, let me read, because this guy is a pretty good writer. Johnny Oleksinski, excellent writer. So I'm going to read some of his stuff, but then I'm going to express the reasons I think the Academy Awards did poorly this year, because I read through some of this, and he doesn't seem to hit the nail on the head, I don't think. He just talks about how it's not particularly well produced. Which I didn't watch the Academy Awards, so I can't comment on that. But I can tell you why I didn't watch them and why I think most of America didn't watch them. All right, let's have a look here. If you open the window and listen closely Sunday night, you could hear it. The sound of millions of remote controls changing the channel during the 2021 Oscars. Excuse me. And after last night's debacle, the worst Academy Awards of my lifetime, they may never return. Producer Steven Soderbergh, the man who directed Traffic and Aaron Brockovich, among many other fine films, helmed the broadcast and was determined to make it more intimate and cinematic than usual. All right, well, as a movie critic, I'll play ball. Steven Soderbergh's The Oscars gets 1 star. The night was nearly nonstop drudgery, zero humor, and a format that tried even the most resolute of attention spans. Too bad the ceremony started out promising. Too bad, period. The ceremony started out promising. Presenter Regina King confidently strutted through Los Angeles Union Station, which was reconfigured to host the event, like it was a catwalk during Fashion Week. She arrived at a neat Art Deco-looking banquet hall where the trophies would be handed out. Cool, new, fun. Yeah, I don't mind that because new locations or I think Steven Soderbergh would be good at that, right? Like hiring good set decorators or location scouts to find good locations to do this and to make it look more interesting and cinematic. I do not like Regina King. I've seen her in many, many films. I find her utterly insufferable, and I'm not really sure what it is I don't like about her.
Regina King, is it her real last name?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe she changed it. But but she's always. This is really a cruel thing for me to say.
Was it an Oscar last night?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it.
Yeah. She's always presented in movies as like this really beautiful woman, and I don't know why.
I mean, this dress from Louis Vuitton is beautiful, but
she was in a show, a movie called Friday. I think she was in Friday, and she was very young. She was like a teenager, and in that movie, if you're a young man watching that movie, she did look cute to some degree. She was kind of, I think, like the girl in the film that people that boys watching are supposed to like fall in love with and thinks hot or whatever, and that was fine. I mean, she was like a teenager. She was in her early 20s or something, and and she looked good in that movie. But as she got older, they still kept presenting her as like the most beautiful girl in the movies because she had this kind of cult following, I think, of guys that thought she was hot. But as she got older and older and older, she was not that attractive, but she kept getting. Anyway, this is a cruel thing to say. I shouldn't really be saying this. But anyway, but she's I've always found her to be annoying. But the reason here's the reason I think she's annoying. Actually, I'll say this: she does not have any charisma at all. No charisma, zero charm.
What movie was she in?
Well, when she was young, she was in a movie called Friday. The movie that I first saw her in was...
I don't know any of these movies.
No. The movie that I remember her from was a film with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. I remember in the trailer, he yells... He says, like, why did you blow up the building? And Gene Hackman goes, because you made a phone call. That was like a really big deal, like in the late 90s. I don't remember what that movie's called, though. It was a great movie. But Regina King was the wife. And I remember thinking, like, why'd they cast her as Will Smith's wife? And then I realized she was in the show Friday, in this movie Friday that she was popular from. But anyway, I don't like her. I find her annoying. I find her very unpleasant. But here's why I suppose they brought her in to present early on. I think it's because she's a black woman. I think probably a lot of this was...
Really?
That's my guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they just like her. I don't know. But that would be my guess. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. For a good 90 seconds, while the retro set suggested a classic Dean Martin roast, we got a kindergarten graduation ceremony instead. So the guy's saying that like the set was like the best thing about the Oscars. At this event, which ostensibly is meant to celebrate the movies, we rarely saw clips of any movies, any films. Rather, we were told saccharine trivia about the nominees. So-and-so used to work as a telemarketer. What's-his-name researched his role really super hard. When the cinematographer when the cinematography, editing, and acting nominees were called out, viewers didn't get to see their extraordinary output. We listened to dumb tidbits available online. The Academy believes in the movies so much, they made the Best Picture the third to last category of the night. Nomadland won. I haven't seen Nomadland, and I don't really have an interest in seeing it. It seems like one of those kinds of films that, you know, people who think they're smart like, because it's just like, you know, it's very whatever. It's got good cinematography or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe it's amazing. Maybe it's amazing. They always, people in Hollywood, by the way, they love great acting, and by great acting they mean like lots of crying and people making themselves look ugly. That's what they love. Yeah, are you annoyed with the lighting? Yeah. Well, you can set it. You can set the thing on the top to like automatic. Downing. Yeah, there's an A. Just look at the top dial and flip it to A. See what happens. That should be aperture priority. Yeah. Just switch it. Good Lord. Yeah. So well, okay. Yeah. Just leave it then. I don't know.
So you don't know.
Well, I have to play with it and make sure I get it right. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Let me keep reading his roast of the Oscars. Meanwhile, our eyes couldn't take this self-righteous snooze fest. The camera work was purposefully shaky. The acceptance speeches were shot pretentiously off-center, and the cinematic frame rate robbed this news event of electricity. They could make a buck selling the telecast as a smartphone sleep improvement app. At least your average kindergarten graduation, the cute little kids sing a... Okay, sorry. At least at your average kindergarten graduations, the cute little kids sing a tune. This year, all the best song nominees were relegated to the red carpet pre-show, which even fewer people watched, so there was no variety to spice things up. None of the broadcast's many indulgences were the fault of the winners. There were memorable moments in the speeches. The best moment of the night was Yoo Jung-yoon flirting with Brad Pitt and asking, "Where were you when we were filming?" I didn't see that, so I don't understand that at all. Early on, Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah, hilariously thanked his parents for having sex to conceive him, and touchingly, Thomas Vinterberg honored his daughter, who died shortly before he made another round. Glenn Close danced. I don't really care about any of this. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. So is this the woman that was flirting with Brad Pitt, I guess? I don't know. But there is one good thing that happened during the Oscars. Is somebody texting you something funny? Go on. Say it. I want to hear it. I feel like I'm a teacher in school and you're sharing notes and I'm asking you to read it for the class. Go on. What was the text?
My friend, she's watching my show and said, "Well, what happened with lighting? You look like a Lenin." And I was like, "Lenin?" And she sent me this picture of Lenin laying in this like black room because it was too dark.
Vladimir Lenin?
Yes. Because it was too dark and it looks the same.
That's funny. All right. So, but this was the only good thing that I was aware of. Tyler Perry got the humanitarian award because he's a really good man. He's a really good man. And you know what he said? He said something incredibly controversial. And I heard that he'd gotten a lot of backlash for this, although I couldn't find it online in the short amount of time I was preparing for the show. But he said, sit down for this, guys. This is like shocking.
If I'm sitting down, can I lay down?
You can lay down, just like Lenin. He said he refuses, despite what the media tells him, he refuses to hate white people. I mean, honestly, like that's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
He said it at Oscar?
No, he was getting an Oscar, and that was his Oscar speech.
His speech?
Yeah.
Can we see that?
Yeah, I'm going to play it right now. Hold on. So, this is the end of his Oscar speech. He talks a little bit about his mom. He talks about, a homeless person he was trying to help because, you know, if you're getting a humanitarian award, you might as well talk about the homeless person you're trying to help. But, you know, it was a very good story. It was a very good story. I'm not going to like give him any crap for that. But an amazing moment where he actually kind of criticizes the mainstream media. And by the way, Tulsi Gabbard just put out a video where she was criticizing the mainstream media. She called the mainstream media propaganda. A tear came to my eye. Well, that's not really true. But I was actually very impressed with Tulsi Gabbard because she's a Democrat. And granted, she's a very conservative Democrat. She's sort of a dino. But, I mean, what a powerful thing for a Democrat to say. And this is a powerful thing for a black, powerful producer in Hollywood to say. And I think I love this guy now. All right, let's go ahead and play this for you guys.
My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate. Don't hate anybody. I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LBGTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian. I would hope that we would refuse hate. And I want to take this Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award and dedicate it to anyone who wants to stand in the middle, no matter what's around the walls, stand in the middle, because that's where healing happens. That's where conversation happens. That's where change happens. It happens in the middle. So anyone who wants to meet me in the middle, to refuse hate, to refuse blanket judgment, and to help lift someone's feet off the ground, this one is for you too. God bless you, and thank you, Academy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
What a good guy.
There's a Frank James said, while we are refusing hate, did we remember the intro?
Oh my. Hilarious.
Come on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is our magnificent intro. We are the least professional show on YouTube. I am toxic. She is masculine. Together we are toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity. All right. So, yeah.
Is he gonna get canceled?
Tyler Perry? No, definitely not. First of all, he produces all his own stuff. He's very, very wealthy. Mm-hmm. He's very he makes the film. He's the one that cancels other people. He's the one that fires you if you didn't like your politics. But I don't think he's the kind of guy who would do that.
Right?
Probably he's a Democrat as far as Hollywood is concerned. Mm-hmm. But my guess is that no. You wouldn't say those things on that stage if you were a Democrat. My guess is that he is, I think he's probably a conservative.
Libertarian slightly to the right?
No, I think he's a solid conservative.
To the right.
I had a buddy who used to make a joke about, he goes, it's an Australian joke. Australians are a little bit racist. Like they don't even give a crap.
Russians.
They'll just say whatever.
Like Russians.
No, not all of them, obviously, but oh, damn. You guys want to get let on in a little secret? That's actually a big secret. This is not a little secret. I am working with somebody currently to maybe, he'd kill me if he knew I said this on live, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because you guys are a small group. You guys won't share this.
78 people.
Okay. We are trying to work on maybe, we're in the very early stages. Oh man, we got some big names. Oh, I'm just going to write this guy back because this is crazy. Whoa.
I'm just terrified.
You don't know what I'm about to say.
I don't know. And it's like, Chris, don't say that. Don't say anything.
Okay, these are big names. These are good. This is good. We're in the early stages of setting up a good award ceremony. An award ceremony people will want to watch. An award ceremony of conservative social media people like myself. Yeah.
Are you going to be the winner?
No. No, I don't think I'm going to be nominated for anything. I'm helping to organize it, set it up, promote it, because I'm connected. I'm connected to a lot of the people online and stuff like that. So we're going to bring in, we've got some big names already attached.
Donald Trump?
This guy writes, this is going to be incredible. We're going back and forth between different options about where to have it. What's your opinion? Just telling him I'm going to get back to him. But But yeah, we're gonna have an award ceremony like the Oscars or like the Emmys or something like that. But it's gonna be hilarious. First of all, that's the number one thing we're trying to bring to it is comedy, and the reason for that is so that we can basically make it what like the Oscars used to be. Not what that is, which is just this like very serious, political stuff all the time. Political stuff is so important. Black people need more representation. Women need more representation. Obviously we're not going to be talking about that crap. We're going to be making fun of ourselves. We're going to be making fun of, we're going to be making fun of the left, obviously. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be actually a fun event. It's going to be entertaining. I don't know how long it's going to be. It'll probably be a pretty long event, but we're going to have all the big...
Is it going to be where, do you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're still kind of deciding where to have it. But, yeah, this is not like a for sure thing. It's just one of the projects we're working on. But it seems like we're getting some really big people on board. So the bigger people you get on board, the more likely the thing is going to be able to happen. So, yeah, I think that it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's one of those things that will kind of... people feel that an entity or a group is validated in the culture if they can see them. What are you doing? What's being written now? Okay, share with the class what you're reading. All right, I'm just teasing.
I realized this is Melania Trump's birthday, and I just wrote happy birthday in her Instagram. Sorry.
Am I that boring? Am I that boring?
Darling, of course not. Of course not. I just
That's
like
the most sarcastic. Of course not. I've ever heard.
Saying such interesting stuff that I will forget about this.
We're
it's better for me right now.
Now you know what it's like to live with this woman. Okay, so anyway. Okay, well, anyway, so that's kind of one thing that we're doing. But anyway, love Tyler Perry. I mean, I literally love Tyler Perry now. I never really thought much of Tyler Perry one way or the other. I didn't dislike him. I didn't like him. I've never seen a Medea movie. I know what he does. But I've never watched that stuff. I'm not black. I'm not like into that cultural stuff. So I'm not privy to it. I've seen him in other movies. I've seen him in stuff. He's fine. I think he was in, I don't even remember, but I've seen him in something. And I like him. I've always liked him. I always thought he was fine. But I've never had a particular interest in him one way or the other. I've never disliked him or liked him. Ashley Murphy says you should ban mainstream media from attending. No, I won't ban mainstream media from attending. Anybody who wants to show up and help out and work or do just walk the red carpet or whatever. If it's somebody from Fox or something, I'm okay with that. I know a lot of people hate Fox now, but it's just an event. Obviously, the people who win the awards and who are nominated are going to be all social media people, because that's kind of where our focus is. It may expand later to just be all conservatives, but for now it's mostly social media. That's kind of our focus. But anyway, I wanted to say that this critic who's talking about how good or bad the awards were, can I just say I now want to work with Tyler Perry? Sorry, I'm like on this Tyler Perry kick now. Like I want to go watch all his movies. I want to be his best friend. Like he's down the street here. I could go probably meet him at some point.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure I have a connection to Tyler Perry. But here's the thing. I never thought, I want to work with Tyler Perry. He makes those Medea comedy movies, which, I mean, I think he's a billionaire. I mean, I think he's like super, super rich. So, I mean, he's obviously done really well for himself. Those movies are super popular. I've never seen one. I can't tell you whether or not I like them or I don't like them. But, if you've never seen somebody's work, you can't say, I love this guy or I don't like it or whatever. But because of that speech, because he's saying meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. He's speaking to Hollywood in the way he knows he needs to not offend them. But here's the thing, meet in the middle is a criticism specifically of Hollywood. Or the person who collects the stories for the show wrote that Diary of a Mad Black Woman is hilarious. Okay, well, I'll watch that. We'll watch it. So if you're saying that you think that people politically should meet in the middle, that's a pure criticism of the left. Because the right we're constantly trying to talk to the left and have discourse and compromise and meet in the middle. And the left's always saying, no, we must be only leftists and everything on the right is pure evil and racist. I mean, they don't even engage. So if you're saying meet in the middle, you're not talking to the right. You are talking specifically to the left. You're telling the left to shift right. It seems to me that Tyler Perry is absolutely a conservative. He may not be completely conservative in all of his political ideas, but he seems to me, by that speech, that's my guess. That's what I'm thinking. I would want to work with him. All right, sorry, I went on a little bit too long about that, but I will say this. Here's the reason why I think that the Oscars did not do well. I don't think it has anything to do with the production value or how boring it was.
But did you notice, like, they had such a tiny space to do this Oscar?
Yeah, well,
room, like,
I think they had a lot fewer people because of COVID. Yeah.
Don't you want to get a bigger space?
Well, I think that they just had fewer people. They had so few people there that I think that they suspected that they didn't need to. I don't know. But I think the reason people didn't watch the Oscars didn't have anything to do with the production quality, because nobody knew what it was going to be like before they turned it on. I'm sure people turned it off and quickly because they thought it was horrible. But I don't think a lot of people tuned in to begin with, and I think that has a lot to do with just the nature of entertainment today. Stars are not what they used to be. It used to be that a movie star was something that was legendary. People idolized, movie stars. They thought they were the best thing in the world. But now, in order to be entertained, you don't have to watch movies.
After Leonardo DiCaprio got his Oscar, finally, I stopped watching Oscars.
Did you like Leonardo DiCaprio?
After I met him personally, no.
No, I meant before. Were you like a big fan because of Titanic and that?
It was a Russian goal to Leonardo DiCaprio get his Oscar because he deserved it, and they didn't give him.
Oh, because DiCaprio is part Russian.
His grandma is Russian.
Yeah, yes. Russians think that
and he wasn't getting Oscars for like years, which he's supposed to get a long time ago, but they weren't giving him for some reason.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Russians are obsessed with DiCaprio.
Okay, he got his Oscar. Done.
And then Valeria worked with him on a movie, and she was like, whatever. Now she's like over it. I'm sure he's a great guy. Okay, no. All right, I don't know. I'm trying to be nice. You like Brad Pitt, though.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's awesome.
He's awesome.
Okay. We like Brad Pitt. Okay, so Jeremy, absolutely. We need to come up with a name. We do need to come up with a name for our award show.
Next article?
Yeah, next article. Thank you for guiding me. I've got too much stuff going on. All right, let's do it. Next article.
Are you not going to switch to myself?
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, if you want.
You always do that.
Well, I wasn't going to,
That's what
okay?
I'm waiting for.
I'm changing things up.
Okay, some variety.
Just because there's this thing. Well, no, I'm going to tell.
Well, you have to switch back then.
Okay, so when we first got together, Valeria was, I mentioned this before on the show. Valeria at one point when we were dating mentioned, like, why do guys cheat on girls? Like, if they're happy with the girl. And I don't remember why you asked that. It was something in the news or something like that. And I said, well, guys kind of like, guys like variety. And then at some other point, I don't know why, I was talking about something not to do with women. It was like food or something, or I think it was travel. I like travel.
I think you were talking about hair color. Variety, blonde, brunette.
That's right, yeah. Something about that. And I said, well, I like variety. And so Valeria put these two things together. She's like, oh, you like variety, do you? And I've never heard the end of it. Anytime the word variety is mentioned in our household, Valeria's like, oh, you like variety? Every single time. So, yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, I was doing this for variety. Okay, we'll switch back. It's just you, babe. Okay, let's hear the headline.
Hunter Biden, Republicans demand investigation.
That is right. So, I love this. Now, here's the rotten thing. They're demanding an investigation specifically about the gun that he had filled out his application for a gun, and he had lied on it and said he was not doing any drugs, which we know he was.
Don't they require like a blood test for drugs?
You just have to say, yeah. So he lied, and we know he lied, right? That's clear. So we know he's committed a felony. Right, we know he's committed a felony, but the federal government has refused to go and investigate this or arrest him or in any way because he's the president's son. Would they have?
His father already a president. Why they refuse to investigate?
You think they would have been so generous with Trump's kids? Not a chance. Here's why I find this a little bit annoying, because Hunter is guilty of so much worse, and yet we're going to get him on this stupid gun application. Well,
he can say he made a mistake.
I say we go after him on whatever little thing we can find, because I think of it as like Al Capone, right? They couldn't get Al Capone on the murders. They couldn't get Al Capone on the racketeering or any of the criminal stuff that he was doing, but they could get Al Capone on tax evasion. So he ended up dying in prison for tax evasion, which is like, you would have wished that Al Capone would have gone to prison for something much more, relevant to his level of criminality. In the same way, you want Hunter to go to prison for something much more serious, because he is guilty of much more serious crimes. His best buddy did go to prison. I actually haven't kept up on that story, so I need to check that out. But he was prosecuted for crimes with the same company that Hunter's in, but Hunter was ignored. Hunter was ignored because of his father. So rules for thee, but not for me. That's the Biden way. But let's go ahead and have a look at this story. Excuse me. Republicans call on Biden's ATF director nominee to investigate Hunter Biden for potential felony. Is this going to happen? Of course not, but let's keep reading. I like that they're pushing it, though. I love that they're pushing it. A group of House Republicans sent a letter Monday calling on President Joe Biden's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the nominee David Chipman, to investigate Hunter Biden if confirmed. Well, of course he'll be confirmed, for reportedly falsifying information during a background check in order to illegally obtain a gun. The letter to Chipman, first obtained by the Daily Caller, was written by Republican Virginia Representative Bob Good, a man who I've never heard of before, and signed by over 20 House Republicans. In the letter, Good asks Chipman to publicly commit to investigating Hunter Biden, referencing a Politico report that Biden answered no to the question about drug use on firearms transaction record for a gun in October 2018. Just years prior, he had been discharged from the Navy Reserve after testing positive for cocaine. Biden also allegedly sent a text message on January 29th, 2019, saying his former sister-in-law turned girlfriend, Hallie Biden. Isn't that freaking weird? I always think that's so weird that he started dating his dead brother's wife. Ugh. I mean, could you imagine if Trump's kids did, like, the stuff that this guy's gotten away with and the media hasn't pushed him on? I talk about this in a recent in a video I'm going to put out pretty soon on Mr. Reagan. He just the double standard is incredible. Like, if this had been Donald Trump Jr. that had been guilty of all the stuff that Hunter's guilty of, it would be front page news every single day, all day, for months. Yeah. Let's see here. His girlfriend, who was his brother's wife, Hallie Biden. Is it Hallie or Haley? I don't know. She stole a gun from the trunk of his car, and then the police and Secret Service. Wait, what? Okay. Anyway, you guys heard about that story. She stole a gun, threw it into a garbage thing. The police and Secret Service went looking for it. She threw it away due to concerns that Hunter might use it to kill himself. Anyway, so this guy, Bob Good, wrote, I write to ask you publicly to commit to investigate allegations that Hunter Biden falsified information during a background check in order to illegally obtain a firearm should you be confirmed by the U.S. Senate as the director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the letter states. I think the reason that he's written this letter is so that when the guy is going up for confirmation to, he's got to talk to congressman to get confirmed, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to ask him about it. and say, well, you've got this letter. You've had time to think about it. What's your answer? My guess is that he'll try to weasel out of it in some way, but Republicans can now push and say, well, you got the letter. You know that he's guilty of this. Why would you not arrest him? In the letter, Good says that everybody should be held to the same standard regardless of their connections or last name. Such a good point. What is funny?
This super chat.
Stop.
It's
Hilarious.
related to this article.
Okay.
It's from
I will pause.
And it's 20 bucks.
It's $20.
Okay.
We don't. Okay, fine. Thank you, whoever wrote it. Who wrote the super
It's
chat?
Tom Christopoulos.
Oh yeah. I actually know him.
Yeah?
You've met him. Yeah, in DC. I think that's right. I think that's right.
I was in DC in 2019.
We had dinner with somebody. Remember?
Well, you were last time in DC without me. So.
No. This is the first time.
So his super chat is Hunter wanted variety. I told you it's hilarious.
Okay, that was worth stopping for. Okay, let's see here. The letter, Good says that everybody should be held to the same standard. I love that. I love that point. Because that's a point that you cannot argue, either on the right or the left. The idea that your kid, because you're the president, gets special treatment, and this was never true about Trump. Trump's kids, in fact, got really bad treatment for being Trump's kids. But Hunter has been basically getting treated like a prince this whole time.
I understand why you sound like you're surprised.
What do you mean surprised?
Like the difference between how they treat.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm saying I'm impressed
You were
at this guy's
Okay.
this guy's letter. I think this is a really good strategy. It's sort of like chess, right? You're basically putting them in a corner where they have to either say, yes, we're going to go after Hunter Biden, or no, we're not going to go after Hunter Biden, and we agree that nepotism and the double standards are fine, right? It's like when you got your knight doing that L shape, and it's either going to take your queen or it's going to take your rook or something, right? It's going to take something, and you got to move something out of the way, but something's going to go, right?
Okay.
So they're basically trapped. Many Americans are rightfully alarmed by these reports, considering Mr. Biden's history of drug use. God, I don't know why I can't read today. I can never read. I got a problem with reading. I'm not a good reader. This is why I don't do teleprompter stuff. In the past, the Biden family has been open about Mr. Biden's struggle with substance abuse, and Navy records indicate his discharge from service following a positive drug test. Since lying on a background check form is a felony, this allegation merits investigation. Sadly, lying on background checks is common, often called lying and trying, but rarely prosecuted. The Government Accountability Office reported in 2017 that of the 112,000 lie and try crimes that year, only 12 were prosecuted. The letter continues. But see, I think that this is a critical thing to do, to prosecute him for this, and to investigate and to prosecute him for it. Specifically because he's such a high profile figure, and he's somebody that
What?
the government should say this is a law that needs to be enforced.
Even if they would prosecute him for this felony, can he just say, "Oh, I was too high while filling this application"?
I don't think
and
that's an
I'm
adequate.
mistaking yes and no, so
Yeah.
I'm not
lots of
responsible.
murderers often say, "Oh, when I shot that person in the head, I thought I was using a squirt gun because I was too high." I don't think they're going to get away with it.
But you can try.
I'm sure he will. Let's see here. Good told the Daily Caller that Chipman needs to step forward and acknowledge the report in order for Americans to understand the consequences of breaking the law. President Biden has signaled that his administration is willing to strip Americans of their right to defend themselves through a series of unilateral gun control measures. Meanwhile, his own son publicly confesses to consistent illegal drug use and unlawful behavior prior to purchasing a firearm. Hunter Biden's comments expose an unacceptable double standard that must be addressed. Knowingly making an untrue statement on a background check form is a felony punishable by 10 years in prison, Good told the Daily Caller before sending the letter. I'm sending the letter demanding that Biden's ATF director nominee, blah, 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 blah. We got it. But anyway, point is, I love this story. I love this story, and I love that Republicans are finally acting tough against the degenerate Democrats. Are you laughing at me, or are you laughing at another super chat?
It's you.
Oh, okay, good. I can't tell.
Darling, if you cannot read sometimes, it's okay because you are perfect in every other way.
Oh, gentlemen, get a wife that lies to you. It's so nice. All right, sweetie.
Next article.
Yes, please.
Warning. Public safety crisis coming as officers leave the force.
Okay, well, this is a relatively short story, but the point is just that...
Are they leaving force or they leaving guarding black neighborhoods?
No, they're leaving the police force.
Well, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. So this was on Fox News. I'm just going to go ahead and play the clip from Fox News. I normally don't just play clips from other media outlets, but in this case, I think it's appropriate because the guy being interviewed is pretty sharp here. Let's see.
Big cities, small towns, villages, we interact with officers who are either injured physically or emotionally and psychologically. Now, that's the area I want to talk about right now is the psychological and the emotional injuries that are taking place, because they are part and parcel of why cops are leaving at record levels. And it isn't just NYPD. It is quite literally every major city in the country. And I've been, during our discussions previously, Harris, I forecasted a criminal justice crisis, and it is barreling towards us. A public safety crisis is coming towards us like a freight train, and we are seeing this is just the beginning. And I don't want to sound like about the sky is falling, but the sky is falling.
All right, so here's why I wanted to talk about this. Valeria has mentioned before, like, if black people don't want police patrolling their neighborhoods, just take police out of the black neighborhoods, which I disagree with, because I know that there's good black people who are the victims of these crimes that we do need to protect. And I don't think that...
Okay, well, then send only black cops there. Every time if they will shot a black criminal, you won't have this huge protest.
That may end up being what we have to do. But I will also say that if we do have a limited number of police and they do have to start, stepping away from the black neighborhoods where there is all this crime, you're going to have a problem where, because I think you're going to have a lot more what they call white flight. Right? White flight is when white people just move out of the city and they move into the countryside because they don't want to be around crime. And so you get these black neighborhoods that are just become more and more and more infested with crime, and they take over more and more of the city, and white people just move out into the suburbs, move out into the countryside. And we've been talking about it. We've been talking about where we're going to move, and we're definitely moving out of LA because, I have this Citizen app that tells me what crimes there are around us, and within maybe a 5-mile radius, there's probably 4 or 5 stabbings, shootings, some kind of armed something, some kind of somebody's gotten shot every single night.
That's why I deleted that app.
Yeah, it was, and I don't like Valeria to walk around outside downtown, and she gets mad at me for that. But what happens when she gets shot?
You asked me to buy you a drink today, so I had to go outside and buy you a drink.
We do have a small market that's literally at the bottom of our building that she can exit, and she has to do maybe 10 feet, 20 feet between 2 feet between our door and the door of the store. So that a distance, even though I do worry about her, even that distance, and probably I shouldn't take that risk, but I don't think it's the biggest risk in the world. But there always is some kind of crazy homeless person out. It's always, every single time.
I remember when we were in Boston, we lived basically in a center, and there was one crime in how many days we were there for 4 days,
from the app? Yeah,
and it was one crime.
But it was during coronavirus, and there wasn't anybody out.
Yeah.
But yeah, every single time you go downstairs from our building and you leave our building doors and you take a right and you go take another right into the little market downstairs, it is a little bit like playing football. You do have to kind of weave and dodge and try to get around the homeless person without touching them, because you don't want to get that filth on you. I don't know what they've got, but homeless people,
Maybe this is why we are immune to coronavirus, babe.
We've been affected by so much filth from downtown LA. We can't even catch coronavirus. That is interesting because homeless people don't catch coronavirus, really.
We were discussing this before because they live outside, they breathe
It's fresh air all the time.
They don't wear masks, they have a free food available for them. They live this paradise.
Homeless people have got to have the best immune systems on earth too, because they just catch whatever is out there
100%.
all the time. All right, basically the point I was trying to make with this story is that cities are becoming so disgusting because of, like, you can hear sirens right now.
The problem become worse while COVID because all these lockdowns, no people on the street, and homeless people just start shifting here.
Oh yeah,
Like
there's many more little
when we
encampments.
moved in, there wasn't homeless.
They actually
tents
cleared
around.
the homeless out at the beginning of COVID. They were trying to put them in
They
hotels.
were trying to start camp behind our building. They cleared them all out.
They cleared everybody out. All the streets around here were clean. It was amazing. And then as they started to come back, they actually filled in places they weren't before. They didn't live before, because the homeless came back before the rest of the population. So there were a lot of places that people normally were hanging out in that there was no people, and so the homeless just took up camp there. And so now there's many more encampments around LA and places that they weren't before. So yeah, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. The homeless problem's worse. The crime problem's worse. Our city's particularly bad because we have a district attorney that's just absolutely appalling.
I'm really thinking of moving out, if not LA for now, because I have this situation with my immigration stuff. Maybe we have to move out to Orange County.
Yeah, we might
which
move to
has a
Orange County.
Republican mayor. I think she's a Republican.
Yeah, we've considered San Diego. We've considered Orange County. We've considered going back to Oregon.
I consider Orange
Valeria
County for
wants to
now.
go to Texas, so that's been a consideration. Florida.
Desperately.
That Florida's good. Well, the only reason she wants to go to Texas
Have you
is because
been in
it's
Tampa,
cheap.
Florida? It's the other side.
I have, yeah.
Is it nice in there?
I didn't see much of Tampa because I was there to see someone. So
Who?
Lou Shaber.
Damn. Okay.
It was not a woman. It was a guy. I went there for his wedding.
Guys, no drinks today because he still did mention his ex. Not yet. It's still not the end of the live stream.
Yeah. So there's a lot of nice places in this country. And sadly, a lot of the really nice places, it was funny. I actually once tweeted something like, why are all the best places in America overrun by Democrats?
I asked this.
And a lot of conservatives who live in conservative areas were like, what are you talking about? You just haven't been to where I'm from. And I looked up some of the places that they're from, and I'm like, these aren't nice. like if you go to where I'm from in Oregon, it's like beautiful evergreen forest, waterfalls everywhere, unbelievably beautiful coastline. Man, it looks
Cold.
like Malibu. It is cold, it is raining, but it's a rainforest. I mean, the vegetation, it's one of the most beautiful places you'll ever go in the
I
world.
agree 100%, but it's cold.
It is
in
cold.
there.
Not in the summer.
It's cold.
It's not in the summer. Not in the summer. If you go to Hawaii, I mean, we've never been to Hawaii. We both went to Hawaii last year for the first time ever. Seriously, one of the most amazing places we've ever been to. I didn't think I would even like Hawaii, but I freaking love Hawaii. It's just a jungle. I mean, it's just amazing. And completely overrun by Democrats. Oregon, completely overrun by Democrats. Washington State, completely overrun by Democrats. Southern California used to be... I met an Uber driver who was... It was funny, actually, because he was not a racist guy. He was like a Democrat. He was like he had been raised a Democrat. He grew up Democrat. He was a white guy, though, and he was in the 50s in LA, and it was all white people out here at that point, right? And he's like, this was like the nicest place in America to grow up. It was amazing. Growing up in California in the 1950s, he was like, was like a utopia. Anything you want to share with the class, darling? Anything you want to share with the class?
No.
Yeah, you look at your phone again. So
I am...
thought it'd be something exciting.
Stock market, sorry.
I'm going to take your phone every time we do these shows from now on. Thank you. Anyway,
But how
so
am
this...
I going to take pictures of the super chat?
Oh, that's over. That's over. So this guy was saying that back then, before a bunch of different, it became like racially integrated in LA. Back when it was all white, it was like the most amazing town, and it's deteriorated. And his position was that it was because there were so many immigrants that had come in, there were so many people of different races that had come in and made the city worse. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't around there back then. I obviously don't share his perspective necessarily, but it was an interesting perspective that that this place used to be so amazing, and now it is absolutely horrible. I don't know if it's a racial problem or if it's a problem based around some cultural issues or some other kind of issues. I mean, that would be something that would be interesting to explore, but certainly it's not made better by this idea that like, oh, let's let the gangs take over. Oh, let's let murderers go free. That certainly doesn't help anything. And there doesn't seem, it almost seems as if somebody has decided LA is so far gone that it's better just to let LA burn than to try to fix it. And so you've got all
It's
these...
easier to just burn everything.
Burn it down, start again. So that's kind of where the Democrats seem to be. There is a concept in Marxism that what you do is you make a country so miserable and so terrible, and you make it so insufferable to live in, that people will actually choose communism as a desperate means to get out of it. Despite the fact that they might be wary of communism because they've seen it not work in other countries, they'll still choose it because the situation that they're in is so bad that they're desperate and they'll try anything. And so that's what the communists were trying to do in America for a long time, make America so miserable. And so I suspect that this is what's this guy that is the district attorney in LA? What's his name?
Shoot.
Well, anyway, this guy, and there's a guy in Philadelphia that's the same. I think his name is Krasnow or something like that. Anyway, all these poros people that are being put into these cities, I think that's actually their intent. I think their intent is actually to make the cities so insufferable around the country. Like, your job is to make this town miserable. Your job is to make this town miserable. Increase the crime rates. Create Black Lives Matter rights. Burn down the cities. Their idea is to make life so miserable that we embrace communism. I don't think that's actually going to happen. What I think is going to happen is that just the rich people, the successful people...
Gascon?
Yeah, Gascon. Yeah, Gascon. George Gascon. He's the district attorney out here. And I think he's trying to... Because he did it in San Francisco. He made the place so terrible, it was unlivable. But I think he's just going to push the successful people out of the city. Everybody who makes money is just going to leave. And yes, you will burn the city down, but you're going to burn the city down full of like ethnic minorities, poorer people, lower income people who are, who can't leave. They're the ones that are going to suffer. It's not going to be the rich people. It's not going to be the successful people. They're going to leave. So I don't know. I mean, I can't tell people not to leave the cities. We're doing it.
I want to live this.
Yeah, we're leaving it. So
Florida.
Maybe we'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah. If you hate cops, and if they're just making things worse for everybody all around. And at the end of the day, Democrats are destroying the country, and I think they're doing it on purpose. All right, shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah. Socialism. 91% of Venezuelans struggle to find food.
Thank you, Doug. That was amazing. And you remembered 91% because I've written 90% on there. Study. Over 90% of Venezuelan households struggle to find food. So I think you guys are all aware that Venezuela embraced communism. That was an amazing transition.
Well,
I didn't even do that on purpose.
United States doing the same thing right now.
That's what I just said. I literally just said that.
Sorry. Well, when I hear Venezuela, of course we knew before that they were struggling to find food. It was like while COVID and stuff. I remember pictures of money everywhere on the streets. Everywhere. Like,
their money was worth
isn't
nothing.
It
it's worth nothing.
United States doing the same thing right now? Throwing money into illegal immigrants, like giving stimulus and printing out more and more money.
Yeah, we're gonna get. Yeah, they're trying to make us Venezuela. Yeah.
Like, and I saw this article. People found like in the old house, like some person was collecting dollars, like hiding it. It was worth $400,000 back then. Now it was $60,000.
Right.
So money just being.
Oh, it's much worse than that. It's gotten even worse. But I have a very, very good friend from Venezuela. His name's Eduardo, and he is one of the most conservative guys I know. And the reason he's so conservative, well, one, he's a religious Christian. What? You're gonna get your phone again? But secondly, his mother still lives in Venezuela, and she's still suffering under this regime. And it's just absolutely despicable what they're putting their people through. They were the richest country in South America. They were the wealthiest country in South America.
And what happened? They regulated all of these businesses.
Yeah, they basically nationalized all the businesses. They went and they became socialists. They had the AOC Green New Deal utopia.
Chris, people just paid $12 for me to get my phone, okay? $10 and $2.
Is that what they wrote?
Yeah.
They wrote, "Go get your phone." You guys
I love
fighting
you guys.
fighting against me. All right, let's hear. Study: over 90% of Venezuelan households struggle to find food. This is so sad. A Venezuelan human rights non-governmental organization found in a national poll that over 90% of people living in the country were food insecure. The office of President Juan Guaido noted Sunday. So Juan Guaido doesn't actually have any power, but he's kind of the leader of Venezuela. But the guy who actually has all the power, his name's Maduro, and Maduro is a complete degenerate. Nicolas Maduro, he
Did Maduro degenerate? It almost sounds like he has this.
Maduro degenerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his full name. Yeah, he's the
last
Marxist. He's the communist. So let's hear Guaido, who remains largely powerless. There you go. Despite his status as the constitutional head of the state of the country, has repeatedly condemned the regime of socialist dictator Nicolas Maduro, starving the Venezuelan people since the former was sworn in as president in early 2019, when Maduro's last legitimate term as president ended. So he's no longer legitimately the president, but he's the president because he has all the power. Socialist mismanagement of the economy and extreme corruption on the part of Maduro's top henchmen have devastated what was once Latin America's richest nation, leaving many relying on eating garbage to survive, which is the image up here, obviously. Or surviving on barely one meal a day since at least 2016. A study published last year that found that 15% of Venezuelans depend on consuming food scraps found in piles of garbage to survive. That's so crazy. The food security survey highlighted by the office of the illegitimate president on Sunday was published by the Venezuelan Observatory for Food Security and Nutrition last week. The poll found that only 9% of Venezuelans enjoy food security, meaning they have a stable source of food that they can rely on and know that they will be able to feed themselves the next time they are hungry. I've endured food insecurity because I was so poor after college. And my parents were like, "We're not helping you. You can figure it out." And I was like, "I don't think I can." I survived. They were right. Okay, let's see here. Over 90% of Venezuelans who do not have guaranteed access to food significantly surpassed the numbers in a similar survey by Human Rights Watch published in 2018. At the time, the organization found 80% of the country could not access the amount of food they needed to survive, and the average Venezuelan had lost 24 pounds involuntarily in 2017. Now, this is where things get kind of crazy. The weight loss statistic is the most recent one available of its kind in the country. So check this out. How far down do I have to go to find this? There's a bunch of other statistics about how poor people are and how desperate they are to survive. But I wanted to read. Okay, yeah. Well, let me read this. This is nuts. Okay. Ovzan, OVSAN, has also warned that the Chinese coronavirus pandemic has worsened the food crisis in the country. Maduro has, this is a very poorly written article, by the way. This guy did he made a lot of mistakes. He's just a bad writer. Maduro has enacted a bizarre lockdown schedule known as 7+7, in which the nation is forced into a strict lockdown. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. They're forced into a strict lockdown for 7 days, followed by no restrictions on movement whatsoever for the next 7 days. It's like the weirdest thing. No evidence suggests that the system works it's been implemented in no other country in the world. Okay, everybody, you're locked in your houses. Nobody's allowed to leave. We will shoot you if you leave your house. 7 days later, you can go do what you want now for 7 days. Okay, get back in your houses for 7 days. Like, what a weird... Why would he think that would work?
No.
It's bizarre. I guess
Maybe
the idea...
he follows this logic when what doesn't make sense will work. Like all of these COVID restrictions.
Yeah, like communism.
As crazy you go.
I mean, if you think about it, like coronavirus, if you get sick, it only lasts like a week, right? So maybe if everybody who's sick goes home.
I took a screenshot. Gavin Newsom today tweeted, no joke, California's COVID-19 positivity rate is 1.2%. Not only is it the lowest in the country, it's the lowest positivity rate California has experienced in a year. The light at the end of the tunnel is bright, all caps. First comment under his tweet is, yo bro, you scared of Caitlyn?
I think Caitlyn may be the next governor of California. I'm still going to call her Bruce and him. But
I call her Katerina because it's Russian version of Caitlyn.
What's the Russian version of Bruce?
No.
Bruce.
Boris.
Bryce? Boris Jenner.
We're crazy.
That's kind of funny. Okay, but this thing gets even funnier. If you could talk about people starving to death as funny, this is it. Okay. Let me go down here. So here's so this is pretty crazy. Venezuelan civil society groups first warned the world that the nation had run out of food in 2016 after 3 years of Maduro in power. Since then, stories of Venezuelans hunting cats and dogs for food, killing and eating zoo animals. I can understand some zoo animals, other zoo animals not so much. I've heard that tortoise soup is like the most delicious thing in the world.
Which one?
Tortoise meat.
Tortoise?
Tortoise. Yeah. The British say tortoise. Isn't that weird? They say tortoise. They don't say tortoise. Tortoise. Just sounds wrong. Anyway, but there's a story of a tortoise from. It took like they went to the Galapagos Islands. I think it was the Galapagos Islands, right?
My uncle.
Why are you interrupting me? I will beat you.
I won't interrupt you. It's about turtles and soup.
Yeah, hit me.
So my parents had a turtle for like years. It's still alive. It's still growing.
Okay.
It's there. It's like this turtle. And my uncle, when he was alive, he was always joking that we can make a soup out of the turtle and make an ashtray out of her. What's this called? Like her
shell. Yeah, that's very cruel.
Yeah.
Especially because you were like a child.
My uncle died. My turtle's still alive.
The turtle killed him. The turtle tripped him over.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, he was like an alcoholic, right?
Alcoholic.
Yeah. No, so Charles Darwin and various explorers, right? They went to the Galapagos Islands, right? Mm-hmm. And or did they go to the Canary Islands? I think they went to the Galapagos Islands, right? Yeah. And they went ahead and they found this giant turtle, the giant tortoise, and they were going to take this tortoise back to England for botanists to look at it, and so they had several. They had like 6 that they brought specimens. They brought all the interesting animals they could find back to Britain on the boats. But the crew found that the tortoise was so unbelievably delicious that they ate them all. They ate all the tortoises. Yeah, they apparently taste like beef or something, right? They taste like beef.
Really? Well,
apparently these tortoises.
Can you legally try it somewhere?
Well, we're going to find out someday. But but it's like it's apparently like a very buttery beef. It's like a very it's like Kobe beef or something. Like it's super super nice. So they would just I don't know how they prepare it, but they were all throughout the trip they would just eat all these tortoises, and they kept going back to the islands, and it took like a long time for them to finally develop a scientific name for this tortoise because they were so delicious that they just ate them all. they kept eating them.
Is that now why you?
I think
eat
they
them?
might have gone extinct. Actually, I think they might have eaten them into extinction because they were just so damn tasty. But I find that fascinating. I would like to try a similar species if there is one that still exists. I would like to try this.
Frogs.
Yeah, in France they eat frogs, but I think Darwin was actually part of a society of people who specifically ate exotic animals. They would eat like ostriches and stuff, weird stuff. That was like it was like a club. They would serve up these weird. Anyway, let's keep reading here. So this is pretty fascinating. So they're hunting cats and dogs in Venezuela right now, killing and eating zoo animals, and some people have died after eating toxic vegetables like sour yucca. Isn't yucca what AOC was
said,
telling everybody that they needed to plant in their garden so that they could be like less colonial? Stupid AOC. All right. So this kind of thing has become commonplace in the country. Venezuelans have taken to referring to their starvation and weight loss as the Maduro diet. Which I love that. Okay, so like
Chris, you're trying to lose some weight.
I know, I need to go and move to Venezuela for a while. Well, here's why I love that they call it the Maduro diet, right? They're obviously losing weight because they're starving to death, right? Which is a very serious problem. But they have enough, like the people of Venezuela are tough enough and sensible enough to recognize that, to get through a struggle like this, oftentimes to survive, it's best to maintain your sense of humor, right? They've obviously been able to maintain some kind of a sense of humor. And I love that. I just love that. It just kind of shows how how tough these Venezuelan people are. There was a movie in the 90s called like Life is Beautiful. And it was about this Italian Jewish guy in the World War II. He went to like a concentration camp or whatever, but he didn't want his kid to know about what exactly was going on. So he would try to turn it into like some kind of summer camp thing and make it funny and fun, and was always trying to make his kid laugh and tried to make it seem as nice and fun as possible to sort of spare his kid from the horrors of what they were experiencing. Really great movie. You haven't seen Life is Beautiful, watch it. It actually won the Best Picture Oscar, I think, of that year. I think. But anyway, amazing movie, and everybody should go watch it. I won't tell you how it ends, but there's an ending. There's an ending. Amazing film. Life is Beautiful. Check that out. All right, so that's what I wanted to mention. The joke about the Maduro diet was in honor of the dictator Maduro. Maduro, who is significantly heavier than most Venezuelans. Maduro is fat. On the other hand, Maduro, who is fat and regularly appears on television feasting on empanadas and cake, joked about this mass food shortage in 2016. He says, Maduro's diet gets you hard, no need for Viagra. What a piece of human garbage. What a piece of human garbage. Wealthy Venezuelans in Maduro's inner circle do not appear to lack for any food. They've got a supermarket called Megasis. It's an Iranian-owned supermarket, and it's well-stocked for all of their the rich people. He took a luxury trip to Turkey in 2018 that included a stop at a high-end steak restaurant owned by a local communist. So if he was out of the country in Turkey, where was the CIA? Come on, guys. What are you there for? Take that. Anyway, I won't say it because I'll probably get this video banned, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So... yeah, so that's nice. This is what AOC wants. This is what we're going toward in America with people like Gascon trying to destroy our cities, with people like AOC pushing the Green New Deal, with people that are in the Biden administration pushing us toward socialism. This is what they're going to end up with in America. And in fact, there are some people in America who live like that because of our degenerate leftist policies. All right, well, that is it for the news. Donald, you don't have anything to say about that, do you? All right, so let's move on to the questions and comments. If you want to say anything, now is the time. Speak to the world or to the, how many people do we have? To the 147 concurrent viewers.
And only 80 likes.
I'm sorry, what?
140 people watch us and 80 likes.
Yeah, what the heck, guys? Like, subscribe. Don't hit the notification bell because you'll get way too many notifications every day. But like and subscribe for sure.
First super chat from Andrew Beerward.
Oh, Frank James wrote, fat, remind you of anyone we know? Oh, that's brutal, Frank. I'm no longer friends with you. That's not... Frank just called me fat. So mean. True, though. True. All right, darling, read, please.
Okay. First super chat from Andrew Beerward. Have your special event in Iowa. Have the butter cow presentation.
Yeah, I've talked to Andrew Beerward, and yeah, he loves Iowa. He thinks Iowa's great. I don't really know anything. I've never been to Iowa.
Me too. No, we've never been.
It's very flat. That's all I know. But there's a lot of farms. But good people, from what I hear. Good people.
Oh, look. 18 likes, like 99. Now we have 98 likes.
Good job, Valeria. Valeria, get a little shout out.
99, almost 100.
Come on, who's going to hit 100? Who's going to hit 100?
I already hit my like button. Chris.
We're a little bit delayed,
part.
sweetie. Yeah.
Oh, 100. Okay, good.
There we go.
Okay, next super chat. From rightful king of the polls. That's interesting.
Oh, have the butter cow presentation. There's apparently a cow made out of butter every year at like the state fair or something like that in Iowa. That's what he's saying. All right, so sorry, this is rightful king of the polls?
Yes. Please have Valeria tell the DiCaprio story. Also, how ironic if a gun is what law takes out. How ironic if a gun is what law takes out. Hunter Biden gives his dad gun grabbing.
Given his dad's gun grabbing, right? Yeah. If the thing that finally takes Hunter out is this gun thing, and his dad's railing against guns, that's nicely ironic. Yeah. Everybody appreciates that irony. You want to tell the story of DiCaprio? So Valeria worked on a show called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she got to know the whole cast and crew over there on that. She knows all. Like if we went, this is the weird thing about working in Hollywood, because everybody considers, I think, who's the guy who directed that movie?
Tarantino.
Everybody can consider Tarantino like a legend, right? But like, it's weird to me to think that if we were like in a bar or a club or something and we're hanging out and Tarantino was there, he would recognize my wife.
And he would call me short Russian.
I think that's such a weird thing, right? You don't really think of people in movies and TV shows as recognizing you. But now that we've lived in LA for so long, there is a certain number of people who are famous that if we ran into, they would know who we are and we could have a conversation. It's very strange. It's not strange when you're doing it. Like back when I was in Hollywood working at Warner Brothers, you'd talk about celebrities and talk to celebrities pretty much every day, and you never really think too much about it. But now that I'm out of it again, and I'm looking at Hollywood as like a completely separate entity from me, it is a weird thing to think about. I don't, I'm not in it anymore. I don't really, it's a completely different world. But yeah, the fact that people have way too much respect and revere Hollywood and actors way too much, I think.
So the story is, I worked on the movie and I know I see how all of the stars acting.
Yeah, because that was a lot of stars in that movie.
Yeah, and I just saw the contrast between like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. They both stars. Everybody knows them. And DiCaprio, Brad Pitt was nice. He was like joking around. He didn't look like a guy who his wife just got divorced with him and like took 6 kids, He was like just fine, but DiCaprio,
and he didn't have the arrogance of a movie star,
but DiCaprio,
or that you would expect.
He was kind of like, we have this expression in Russia, like a star disease. If you have it in America, like
he had an attitude.
Like, he has this kind of attitude, like, oh, you all pieces of crap, and I'm this like famous, actor. Yeah. Like I didn't really find him.
I've never worked for Leonardo DiCaprio. I've never worked with him, so I can't tell you one way or another what I think of him. But I'll take Valeria's word for it.
But you can tell who is nice and who is not.
But Valeria's favorite actor, the one that she got the closest to, physically and emotionally, was from the television show 90210, Beverly Hills 90210, if you remember that. And his name was... You want to tell him or do you want me to tell him?
Luke Perry.
Luke Perry. Yeah, that's right. So, funny thing about Valeria, she used to watch this show called Riverdale. It was a terrible show. I hated this show. It was on the CW, right?
I
CW?
love that show.
She loved the show. And the dad who played, the guy who played the Archie's dad, because it was like Archie from the Archie comics, but it was really a messed up show. But the guy who played Archie's dad was Luke Perry from old, Beverly Hills 90210 show. And Valeria didn't know who Luke Perry was or anything like that. She just knew him as the dad on Riverdale. Well, when she worked on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Luke Perry was in that movie. And Valeria had to play a character, well, she was a stand-in for one of the actresses in that movie. And
The problem is that I watched Riverdale
yeah.
after I worked on Once Upon a Time in
That's
Hollywood.
right. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so,
why I didn't recognize
but the weird thing about movies and TV shows and people in actors and stuff like that, they don't always look that much like their characters in the movies. Like I've met many actors and actresses who are much more attractive in real life than they are in, like Drew Barrymore. I've never thought Drew Barrymore was very pretty in movies and TV shows, but in real life, I ran into her once out in Hollywood. She was beautiful. Like in real life, she was beautiful. This is in the 90s or early 2000s. She was pretty young still. And I was just like, wow, Drew Barrymore is like weirdly beautiful, like far more beautiful than I would ever have thought from movies. And some people are like that. Some people look better in real life than they do in the films. But then other people don't look that good at all in real life. And in the movies, they look so much better for some reason. And you guys probably have seen this with people on Instagram or your friends. They take great pictures and they don't look that great in real life, or vice versa. I take terrible pictures. I look terrible in pictures, but in real life, at least I used to be better looking. But with Luke Perry, for whatever reason, Valeria works with this guy. She knows him personally. And then she watches this show that she loves the show, and she never realized that it was the guy she knew. She never realized that, oh, I know that guy. She never didn't recognize him. She just liked the show. She liked the dad on the show. And then Luke Perry died. It was last year?
2019.
2019. So 2019, Luke Perry died. And I knew that Valeria knew him, And it was really sad. I mean, Valeria was very sad because she was like, oh, yeah, I knew he was really great. You thought he was great. What was he like on set? What was Luke Perry like on set?
It's very nice.
Yeah. Good guy, good man. And
But
then
I think you need to clarify Valeria went physically this moment thing.
yeah, she had to hug him on the show. She had to hug him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was like a long take, right? It was a long take. So you had to like be sitting there hugging him for like ages. So they got to know each other reasonably well. And then she watches this show, Riverdale, and she's a fan of his as well as being a friend of
I
his.
didn't recognize him first because he wore so much makeup on because they aged him.
They aged him for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So when he died, it was a little bit heartbreaking for Valeria, but she didn't even know that she was a fan of his. I had to point it out. I was like, yeah, it's too bad. And he's, and she had the show on, and I was like, yeah, there's your friend. And Valeria's like, I never realized. I never realized until this moment. And it made even more sad, which is even worse. I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tom Christopoulos writes, Hunter Wanted Variety. Oh, yeah, you already read that one. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, Tom. Otaku Magnet says, I live just north of Tampa. It's very conservative. Just south of Tampa is Sarasota. Look it up. It's beautiful. Okay,
Sarasota, I heard about this, yeah.
The Pharaoh King writes, for Valeria, you want to read this?
Yeah. For Valeria, so she has a reason to go pick up her phone and keep it next to her where it belongs.
You guys. Forbidden Chocolate, same thing. Go get your phone, Valeria. You people, how dare you stab me in the back like this? All right, let's see here. Okay, we got anything else? Oh,
Yep, that
Yeah.
was it. Yep.
Tom Chrysophilus writes, I recommend the variety diet. Okay.
I think I've recommended a variety diet.
Okay. Speaking of diets, I'm actually doing this. I think I told you guys this Viome thing. I know I'm obsessed with it, but I haven't even tried it yet. I mean, I haven't got my results back yet. We haven't even mailed the sample out yet because Larry hasn't left the house. But when I do take the test, it's gonna be a couple weeks. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
I wanted to do a lot of stuff today because I have a day off. I can like do this and that. And when I woke up and I see this immigration notice, I was
wrecked your
like,
day.
it completely ruined my day.
Yeah.
Like I just want to go to sleep.
She
and
didn't
wake
cry,
up, like,
but she
nothing,
was that close.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. It wasn't good. But we'll fix it. We will fix it, darling. All right. Are we done for the show?
Yes, we are.
All right, guys. You are the best audience in the whole of YouTube, on the whole of YouTube. And we cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow and talk about more exciting, fun news. I thought we'd have more news today because the weekend, usually there's a lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty tame weekend. But there is something about John Kerry. I was going to mention the John Kerry thing, but I didn't get to look into that news in more depth. I figured like it was a pretty big story, so that might come tomorrow. Looks like John Kerry was tipping off the Iranians about some stuff that was going on with Israel. So that could potentially be devastating to John Kerry's career. Not that he's, his career probably should be over by now. He's so old. But anyway, so we'll probably look into that tomorrow. Anyway, looking forward to talking to you guys tomorrow, and have a great night. Valeria, do you want to say good night?
Good night.
Good night, guys. All right, see you tomorrow. Toxic masculinity. All right, that was great. I think that was a good show.